Pro tip, don't tell someone you're dating that you're normally attracted to a particular feature they don't have. I usually prefer dating attractive people, but for some reason, I can date you regardless. I had someone I was dating say I'm just attracted to people who aren't conventionally attractive. I wished they meant I didn't have that quality. Didn't ever ask, because I didn't wanna know. I think this one depends on who said it and how. People say that about actors, celebrities, etc. all of the time. Normally they are still obviously super attractive. They just don't fit into some stereotypical cultural ideas of attractiveness. When most people say it, I think they are essentially saying wow they're really attractive, but not in the stereotypical way. Not most people wouldn't find them attractive, but I do. Yeah. I wouldn't word it like that myself, but I do understand the point. The stereotypical hot dude just doesn't do it for me. Think those TikTok boys with the ridiculous jawlines. I prefer my guys more imperfect. It doesn't mean less attractive, just not so cookie cutter. I had a friend whose boyfriend at the time told her that he was into thin and fit women. That was his type. My friend was obese, but her boyfriend was morbidly obese. It made not one lick of sense, but she married him and lost a bunch of weight. Last I remember, he was still morbidly obese. I often say, if you're going to have a set of standards for someone, make sure you meet them yourself. I want a girl with big titties. Noted. This actually made me chuckle. My boyfriend used to do this to me all the time when we first started dating. It broke my heart regularly. I tried to tell him how hurtful it was, but it never hit home until one day I turned the tables on him and told him I usually date men with long/full hair. He's balding and very self-conscious of it. I hated to do it, and I felt awful for hurting him because I know it did. But he hasn't done it to me ever since. I think he just needed to be in my shoes to really understand how hurtful it was. You know, reverse. I have medium length curly hair. A long-term partner once told me I prefer women with straight long hair. That day I learned two things. 1. Never talk about physical/personality traits you are attracted to, but your partner doesn't have. 2. If your partner is insecure about some part of their body, and communicate that to you. Never ever, even as a joke, or even if you think it's true, agree with them. They already feel like yes about it, and your opinion matters a lot more to them than you think. So why validate their fears and further dig the insecurity hole? Yeah. Met a girl that constantly kept telling me about her ex's huge D and how she loves big DS and how she wants to try a BBC after our first night together. Meanwhile poor old me with a normal sized D is just like, oh okay. Sorry, my P isn't up to your standards, and I felt really uncomfortable the whole time. Thankfully I don't care too much about things on my body, which I can't change. But if I was younger this would have been soul crushing. She was just rude. Don't feel bad, I'm sure you're great. My ex constantly did this. My type is usually brunettes with glasses as me, who was very blonde without glasses. Just dealt with it, along with him being creepy about women in general. I would see him ogling women out of the corner of my eye who looked absolutely nothing like me. I look back and wonder why I stuck around, because I felt disrespected and unwanted so many times. But I'm glad I'm out now. I don't have to feel second, third, or 100th to any other women, and I do think he wanted me to feel like I had to compete with other women, which was just gross anyway. Firmly agree to just keep those comments to yourself. When I was in my early 20s I had a BF tell me he normally dates short redheads. I'm a taller blonde, so I always questioned why he was attracted to me then. He never really had a good answer. Now that I'm in my 40s I chalked his reason to date me was because I was convenient and available. You live and learn. Happens all the time. You're just a person to fill the void till they can secure what they really want. Hurts, but humans are like that. Hopefully not forever though. Well, he's still single and comes out of the woodwork every few years. Wanting something. I don't fall for it anymore though. Wanting something. Probably trying to pitch his red hair dye and reverse stilt ensemble pyramid MLM scheme to you. P. I dated a guy before, and he asked me to describe my perfect man. I pretty much described him, and I asked, what about you? He said a red-haired girl with big curly hair, big boobs and short. I'm skinny. with small boobs and dark brown hair, not curly hair, ego destroyed. Those questions are so risky. LMAO, most guys just describe the porn they watch though. Super unrealistic. I know, right? Lesson learned. Don't even start me on how porn has skewed sex and relationships. Not only porn, but also any kind of media, books, movies, TV shows, Instagram. List goes on and on. Most of them show unrealistic relationships, including the startup and breakup. Seriously. One time I went out with someone who only dated white chicks. I'm quite obviously a Mexican. Those aren't mutually exclusive, TBF. I'm back to the dating scene. After being coupled for / 5 years, and I learned quickly to totally steer clear of making anything but 100% positive comments about my partner's bodies. Words can always hit differently than intended. I wish that was more common around where I live. Big up, vote for you. I'm just saying I don't have type, and it goes well. Yeah, this is the right answer. I feel you. Thank you for sharing this. I think it's important to see this perspective. I think I have been guilty of not thinking this through before. I'll definitely be more cautious of this. LMAO. I have short, kinky, natural hair, and I had a guy tell me I normally like women with long hair. I responded with good for you and then blocked him. Good riddance in my opinion. Isn't that basically negging? That's what it looks like to me. It really depends on intent. Negging is an insult disguised as a compliment, to deliberately erode someone's self-esteem. Op seems to think these women were sincere. Sometimes people hurt each other unintentionally. Yeah, why do guys tell me they like boobs when I have tiny boobs? Keep that to yourself. I've had guys say they were boob men to me, and when I asked why they were into me, they replied with, I didn't say big boobs. Sometimes people like a certain body part, but that doesn't necessarily mean their taste matches the mainstream ideal. Lol, fair point. My partner told me something similar when we first started admitting we had feelings for each other. I prefer women who are skinny and flat-chested. I'm quite chunk, and average to large boob size. Definitely felt a bit down. Like, oh, I don't think he meant it in an insulting way, and I know he loves how I look. But I do think of that sometimes, since it's not an attainable look for me. Not since I was a teenager, haha. Damn, my hubs is the opposite. Wanna trade? Only joking. This is so valid. I dated a guy who told me he was into girls with long legs. I'm 5'2". I was like, ah. Then he said, well, you have long legs. Honey, no I don't. Haha, it didn't make me insecure, but it was such a weird thing to say anyways. Either compliment what I have, or keep it to yourself. I don't care if there's other things you're attracted to, but what's the point of telling them to someone you're newly dating? Just seems weird. Maybe it's a proportionate thing. Although you're short, perhaps you have nice pins proportionate to your height. Maybe. They're a line from a Leonard Cohen song. She told me again. She preferred handsome men. But for me, she would make an exception. I'm actually glad you posted this, as I've committed this crime myself without realizing I've come off as a mean tool. The current man in my life let me know that my compliment was actually hurtful, and it was an eye-opener. Sad heart. For all the times anyone ever gave you a weird compliment. I'm sorry. Trust me, it's never intended that way. It's more like you changed my shallow outlook. But I see how it is perceived as cruel. OMG. Yes. I dated a guy who mentioned he liked big breasts. I then decided to buy push-up bra. Get insecure whenever he even looked at a busty girl. Hate my boobs. My boobs are perfectly normal and fit my body. I've never cared about anything like that, but it sure planted a seed. I was in my early 20s and already hugely insecure. But still. Ugh, so cringy now. That edit. Though. Who the F isn't insecure when it comes to their looks to some degree? Every single damn person. Especially those that look really good and put a ton of energy into looking their best, are insecure to some degree. It's impossible not to be when such a high premium is put on looks in the world. Well, and I've been regularly working out lately and am in the best shape I've been in years. So I'm definitely putting in effort, but I'd be lying If I said that getting comments like that didn't make me feel at least somewhat insecure about myself, you wouldn't be human if you didn't feel that way. I hope there wasn't a follow-up date. No need to bring toxicity into your life. Yeah, I've had it happen to me, and I was not flattered. But to be fair, I did ask him what his type usually was. He said he usually goes for blonde girls with an athletic build. I'm Indian and very skinny, so of course it made me feel bad. So even if someone asks, don't tell them, and follow up, don't ask. There is literally no good to come of asking. Either you're not their normal type and you feel bad, or you're exactly their normal type and you wonder if they only like you for your looks and if you're just one of a pattern. True. Don't ask, don't tell. Hatter, I'm balding and always get the I love a guy with great hairline. I had a guy tell me I usually don't go out with tall plus size girls. I typically go out with really skinny girls that are shorter than me. Me at 6'0" and size 20W. It's fine, I usually don't got out with morons with egos bigger than their dicks, but I made an exception for you. Hell yeah.